commercial real estate agents tend to fail because they don't know what they don't know. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 best pieces of advice I've ever received in the commercial real estate business. Now again, as someone who's been a part of over $450 million worth of real estate transactions, and I'm only 20 years old, I can assure you that the advice that I'm going to be giving you is going to be a little bit better than the office manager you have, or maybe even your team leader. So sit back, relax, and here we go. So piece of advice number 1 is master the phones. Now, you all know that I'm a huge fanatic when it comes to cold calling, but I want to take it a couple steps further. Mastering the phones has so many different layers to it that I want to explain to you exactly what it meant to me and how much it's affected my career. Now, as someone who's made millions of dollars from cold calling, I can assure you that learning how to properly speak and learning the scripts and learning the objection handlers, which by the way, we've created several videos about exactly this. The main piece about mastering the phones is all about mastering communication and the objections that come along with it. Because when you can master the phones, which is basically being a professional communicator in every aspect of the word, allow you to be a great negotiator, allow you to speak freely and set a lot of appointments, allow you to generate a lot of appointments, be able to close a lot more deals, is all about becoming a master communicator, mastering the phone. So when you become proficient at handling objections, so many different pieces about the phones and being proficient on them is going to allow you to increase your business. For someone who's just starting out, this is going to take a number of different things. Number 1, download my script book. It's free. I'm not just trying to sell you anything. Download the script book because I want you to start reading the scripts at the very top there, which is a bunch of commercial scripts that you're going to be able to read, and I want you to recite them over and over again. So practice is going to make perfect here. So mastering the scripts is going to be number 1. Number 2, I've created several videos around objection handling. You can watch a lot of my live cold calling videos where you can hear me handle the objections live, because when you don't know how to handle objections, you're going to have a way lower conversion rate. So make sure you practice not only the scripts, but you're going to want to practice using the objection handlers, which can be just as simple as having a friend of yours, a colleague, or anyone. So all you're going to do with role playing is you're just going to tell your role play partner just to start with the piece that you need the most support with, which is just the objection. Hey, it's not a good time, call me back later. You're just going to start back right at that point, and you're just going to respond appropriately. It's also important that you record yourself when you're making phone calls, because understanding your tonality, your rate of speech, like how fast you're speaking, when you're talking to these people, are you slouched over, or are you standing up with a good posture? How do you sound? Do you sound confident? Do you sound like you don't know what you're talking about? You're only going to be able to figure this out if you're recording yourself making calls and then watching it over and listening to game tape, right? This is how professional players, they're going to watch game tape of other players and themselves and see how they react in certain situations. It's a powerful move you can do with ease. And last thing I'll say with the phones is practice your closing statements over and over and over again. Would an afternoon or evening be better for you? Practice presenting a price to an owner. Practice closing somebody for a listing appointment, right? So would you like me to take photos this weekend or early next week? What works better for you? Being able to master those closing statements over and over again by practicing them, reciting them over and over again, you're going to become a much more proficient salesperson. Piece of advice number 2, learn how to underwrite deals. Underwriting deals is almost half the battle here, right? Because if you're really, really good at the phones and generating a lot of opportunities, and you also now can become proficient at underwriting deals, understanding what deals are good deals, what price is a good deal, how to explain it to a seller as to why a buyer's coming in at X price, or explaining it to a buyer why this deal makes sense. That is going to provide you with so many tools in the tool belt here as a commercial realtor that most don't have. So in my career, I've underwritten thousands of deals. Multifamily, retail, industrial, you name it, I've underwritten it. The ability that has now allotted me to know whether I'm talking to somebody and this is a great deal and I need to make sure that I get this locked up ASAP, and the other side of the coin, which is I'm talking to somebody where the deal just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I really don't need to spend a lot of time here. Like this person's talking about a completely overpriced property. That ability allows me to save a lot of time, but also close a lot of the deals. So what you can do is the following. Number 1, you can watch some of the content I have about underwriting deals. You can check out my YouTube channel. I have quite a few videos about it. So what I recommend though that you do is not only watch those, but is practice doing it a few times. So whenever you get a lead, underwrite the deal. Understand how much money it brings in, account for different expenses like vacancy management, repairs, understand exactly how much expenses it has, what the gross rent roll is. You're going to subtract the expenses off. You're going to figure out a net operating income, and then you're going to figure out, okay, you're going to go to a lender and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Lender, here's all the information about the property. What value would you give this, and what kind of loan could you put on this property? Because most properties right now, considering the interest rates, are going to have a very high DSCR, which is a debt service coverage ratio, which obviously if you're practicing how to underwrite deals, you're going to learn what this is. And that being said, if a property is netting $100,000 a year, they might only be able to have a loan that costs, after all, this is just the debt payment, by the way. The debt payment can only be 65 grand, where it has to be, again, somewhere around a 1.3, 1.35 DSCR ratio. And that's the highest. You obviously want to have a DSCR ratio or a debt service cover ratio of like 1.5 or higher, because that means you're cash flowing like crazy. Back in the day when interest rates were 2.5%, people were having a 1 DSCR, a 1-to-1, which means if it brought in 100 grand, they would give you a loan where the debt payments were 100 grand. So you could break even and when they would give you a loan. That's just silly. When you're talking to banks, you need to know what kind of DSCR ratios they are willing to lend on. Okay, so and once you understand how this process works, now you can start coming up with like, okay, wow, this deal might not make sense at 2 million, but at 1.4, this is a great deal, right? And then you're gonna be able to negotiate with the seller, with your buyer, and having a deeper understanding of how this process works. Piece of advice number 3. This is all about networking, spending a lot of time with very seasoned investors. So I have a number of people that I now can call my friends. These are investors, these were just clients, people had maybe, never met before we did our first deal. And once we started getting to know each other a little bit, we started to spend more time together, and now some of them have become my closest friends, where these individuals who now buy 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars a year worth of properties, and I'm a close friend of theirs and I can bring them a lot of business, they can trust me. They also see me differently. They want to do business with me. They're excited when I bring them a deal, right? I have some people that I bring deals just about every single day to, where they're, I can bounce ideas. Hey, what do you think about this? What if we got it at this price? What if we got it at this price? And I can bounce these ideas, which allows me to now convert at a higher level. Imagine having 2 or 3 or 4 people. I'm not saying hundreds, because the goal is obviously as many as you can, but I'm just even saying a short few people where you can bounce ideas off them, where you're like, hey, John, I just got this multifamily property. It's 10 units in this town. They want $1.35 million. I think it's a really good deal if we did this, this, and this. This is a good price because this is the value add here. And then they're gonna be like, well, listen, Henry, actually, that's a fantastic deal, but we would need to be, these are our terms that would have to make sense at, or, well, maybe, are they open to seller financing? Let's check if they're open to seller financing. You're able to get feedback where they might even say to you, listen, it sucks at 1.35. Honestly, this deal doesn't make any sense unless it's 900. At least you're getting that immediate feedback on these types of deals, so you're not spending time on things that just don't make any sense. So take the time to network with people. And if you find a big time investor, a very seasoned investor, someone who buys a lot of product, you're gonna wanna work on building a deeper and deeper relationship with that individual. Which is like, listen, some of my clients, I go to the casino with them. I go to, there's a Russian bathhouse that we like going to. We just have fun. I go over to their house, hang out with their kids. It's a good time. We hang out, and again, we're just friends. So it allows us to bridge a gap that business, and sometimes in business is a little bit hard to bridge. But when you can bridge the gap and say like, hey, we're friends first, and we happen to do a lot of business together, you're able to close deals that you wouldn't be able to do normally. You're going to be able to get answers faster than you wouldn't be able to get normally. You're able to get feedback faster and more accurate feedback than most people are able to get normally. So this is going to just be able to allow you to basically scale your business so much quicker. Now, all you have to simply do is the following. While you're prospecting, calling around for people who are looking to sell their properties, you're going to then flip the script and you'll be like, hey, just out of curiosity, if I happen to bring you also a really good deal in the local area, would you be open to buying it? And then that's just a really simple opening line of just how to jump into saying like, hey, I see you own a lot of properties. What kind of properties do you buy? And you can bring them some deals and say, okay, listen, actually, I'm going to be in the area later this week. Why don't I stop by and I'll bring a cup of coffee. I'd love to sit down with you. You might not even be in the area later this week, but you can just say it anyways and then you pop over. Really simple thing to do. And that's how a relationship can start. It does not have to be this whole crazy thing of, you have to bring a deal first and like, well, I'm kind of worried about asking this question or this question or this question. Just go for it. I promise you it's going to pay dividends. Piece of advice number 4, don't spend stupid money. Now, what this is a huge piece of advice that I wish I heard earlier in my life, which is this business has the ability to make you an insane amount of money in your career. However, it does take quite some time to do so. And even when you're going to have really good quarters or really good months or really good years, just know that there might be a quarter or a month or a year that doesn't go so well. So saving a lot of money is going to be very, very smart here. It's going to be imperative that you hear me for what this is, that you don't need a crazy $600 or $6,000 suit. You don't need $1,000 shoes. You don't need a fancy car to make a lot of money in the commercial real estate business. What you do need is to understand how to master the phones and a good list of people to prospect and a good network of people to pitch the deals to. They don't really care. Very successful people that I've met don't care what you wear. You get in this business at 20 or 30 years old and you do this business as hard as you can. You're working crazy hours. You're going, you're disciplined, you're consistent, and you do it for just 10 years. I assure you that if you're smart with your money, in 10 years time, you could be worth $5 or $10 million. You could have $1 million saved. You can be in a different financial position like you possibly have never imagined if you gave yourself enough leeway, enough time, and you were consistent enough with your money, and you were not stupid enough to just blow all the money. Because I've been there, and I've done that. I can assure you, it's way smarter to be rich versus look rich. Piece of advice number 5. This is about joining a brokerage that aligns with your vision. Now, there's endless brokerages that you can join. I am a little bit biased in the sense of where I'm at. However, this is not a pitch fest for this. This is for someone to understand that I've been with brokerages where I'm not happy. I'm not heard. I'm not being trained the way I feel like I should be trained. I'm not treated the way I feel like I should be treated. They're not aligned with my goals. They're not aligned with my vision. Like, the brokerage only sells residential and I want to sell commercial, or this brokerage is a really small boutique firm and I want to be part of a bigger organization. I brought on like 30 people to this company and I'm not getting paid a single dollar for anything that I brought on. There's so many different reasons why you might not be happy, and it doesn't have to always be with money. But if you're not happy with where you're at and you're not being surrounded by people who can rise you up, who care about you, who want to see you succeed, if you're not surrounded by positive people, people who want to help you make a lot of money, people who are invested in your future, how do you think that's going to affect your business? Let me answer it for you. It's going to affect it a lot. It's incredibly important the environment you are, quote, settling down with your brokerage. If your environment is not positive, it's not a good environment for you to grow, it's not like allowing your plant to flourish. If that is the case, I would suggest you leave. And if you're open to having a conversation about joining a brokerage with me and being, working with me, click the link in the description down below. Love to have a conversation. But this is more about you just being happy and in a place where you're just able to flourish. That's most important. Quick bonus tip is, for those of you who are really looking to get rich in this business, really looking to build massive amounts of wealth over the next 5, 10, 20 years of your career, here's a quick bonus tip. On the occasional deal, when the deal makes a lot of sense, when it's like a really, really good deal and you're gonna make $100,000 or more, even $50,000 or more, my rule of thumb is this: if the deal makes stupid sense, and you've got an investor that you trust and does really good work, I would recommend that you do, and the advice that I was given was that you roll some of your commission into the deal. So if you're gonna make $50,000 as an example, and you're selling a small multifamily property, okay? 800 grand, you're gonna make 6 points, $48,000. You can roll $48,000 into the deal and be a small equity partner in the property if you know it's gonna be worth $1.5 million. Now you're 25% stake in the deal or 10% stake in the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the ability where now that's worth 150 grand, right? Where you're invested 50,000 to buy 150,000 worth of equity, where I've invested 50 grand where it's made me $250,000. I've invested $100,000 where now that's turned into $300,000, or I'll invest a few $100,000 commission check and it'll turn into $1 million, right? Rolling commissions into deals is going to change your life, where not every deal, because I know, again, we're conditioned to get paid on every single deal, but I'm saying on occasion, and even if it's just a percentage, if hypothetically every deal where you're going to be paid over 50 grand, you take every dollar over 50 grand and you roll it into the deal, right? You don't need to be making 300 grand on one commission check, because what most people do is they make 300 grand and then they don't work for 6 months. But instead, what you should do is you say, I'm gonna make 300 grand on this deal. I'm gonna take 50 for myself and I'm gonna roll 250 into this deal because this deal is an unbelievably good deal and I'd rather have the equity than the money up front. Because I know, think about it like this. If all you did was 10 deals a year and you rolled equity into 2 deals a year, that means in 10 years, you'd have equity in 20 properties. You'd have 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, whatever amount of money that you can negotiate in equity, right? Or your trade-off of equity. You could have percentage of ownership in 20 properties. I mean, imagine what you could be worth in 10 years just by being smart with a couple deals every single year. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions or anything else, make sure you put it in the description down below. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, we would super appreciate it. We're working to try to get to 10,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of the year. Let's see if we can pull it off. That would be fantastic. And other than that, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. If you're still watching this video, that means to me that you're a committed real estate agent and you're looking to take your life and business to the next level. I'm just curious, why have you yet to schedule your free, no obligation coaching consultation? All you have to do is simply go in the description down below, and people are telling me this call has been the most unbelievable, the most powerful call they've had in their entire career. And here's just a few of the individuals who have taken full advantage of this call. And my mission is to support as many realtors as possible, build a 6- and 7-figure net income business so that they don't have to rely on this industry anymore for their everyday income. If you're a committed realtor, which I can see like you are, all you have to simply do to take full advantage of this free coaching consultation is to go in the description down below and schedule your free call now.